Welcome to the All-Star Math Video Tutor. This is Mrs. Dorless, and the topic of this lesson is multiplying fractions. What's nice about multiplying fractions is that we do not need common denominators, not like we did when we were adding and subtracting fractions. But what's even nicer about multiplying fractions is we get to do something really neat. It's called cross-canceling. And let me explain what cross-canceling is. Now, we know that any number or variable divided by itself equals 1. So let's take the problem 2/3 times 3/5. Now, we would normally just multiply straight across, so we'd have 2 times 3 over 3 times 5. And I'm going to use the commutative property of multiplication to rearrange that denominator to be 5 times 3 and the numerator to be 2 times 3. And like we said, any number over itself equals 1, so 3 over 3 we know to be 1. And then we would simplify it down to 2 over 5. Now with cross-canceling, what it allows us to do is take a look at what's going on and see if there are common factors in the numerator or the denominator. If there are, we will be able to cancel them out and simplify them. So we notice that there are 3's here, so 3 can go into 3 one time, and we could simplify, and right away we could have said 2 times 1 is 2, 1 times 5 is 5, and we could eliminate all this extra work. So that's a nifty thing about cross-canceling. So we're going to keep that in mind as we're working some problems. So let's first take a look at 1/4 times 1/2. In this particular problem, there's nothing we can cancel, nothing in the numerators and the denominators that have common factors, so we're just going to multiply through. 1 times 1 is 1, and 4 times 2 is 8. And that's as simple as it gets, and we've done the operation. Now, let's take a look at another problem. 5/6 times 2/3. And now we have a number in the numerator that has a factor also that's in the denominator. So by 2 we can cancel. 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 6 3 times. Now we may be tempted to look at these 3's and try to cancel that, but remember the term is cross-cancel. We need to cross something or go across. We need to come across this fraction bar, and unless we're taking something from the top to the bottom, we cannot cancel. So we're going to continue and just go ahead and multiply through. 5 times 1 is 5, and 3 times 3 is 9, and now we're totally simplified. Let's take a look at another problem here. 2/3 times 9/10. Here we have common factors in a couple of places. We have a 3 and 9, and they have a common factor of 3. 3 can go into 3 one time, 3 can go into 9 3 times. And we also have a common factors with 2 and 10. 2 can go into both of these numbers. So 2 will go into 2 one time, 2 will go into 10 5 times. Now that we have fully simplified, let's just go ahead and multiply through. 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 5 is 5. And now it's in its fully simplified version. Now let's take a look at this. We have a whole number times a fraction, and we know that anytime we have a whole number, there's a 1 underneath it. Any number or variable or any term has a 1 underneath it to make it into a fraction. So we'll take a look at the numerators. We have a 10 and a 3 and an 8 and a 1 in the denominators. In the 10 and an 8, they have a common factor of 2. So let's put 2 into 10, and that will give us 5, and 2 into 8, and that will give us 4. There are no other common factors, so we're going to go ahead and multiply through. 5 times 3 is 15. 1 times 4 is 4. Now this is an improper fraction, and as we learned before, we're not allowed to leave anything as an improper fraction, so we need to change this to a mixed number. So if we take the numerator, divide it by the denominator, 4 goes into 15 3 times, that's 12, subtract it with 3 left over. So this is going to turn out to be 3 3/4, and that is our final answer for this problem. Let's take a look at one more problem which involves mixed numbers. Let's remember how to change a mixed number into an improper fraction. We're going to take the denominator and multiply it times the whole number, and then we're going to add the numerator to it. So 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 more is 15. We're going to keep the same denominator when we do this. Now let's do it again for this one. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And keep the same denominator. Okay, now we're at this point. We're going to see if there's any kind of canceling we can do. I have a 15 and a 5 in the numerator and a 2 and a 4 in the denominator. There is nothing that I can cancel. So I'm going to go ahead and just multiply through. 4 times 2 is 8. 15 times 5 is 75. So now I'm going to reduce this. I have to put 8 into 75. 8 goes into 75 9 times, leaving me 3 left over. So my final answer is 9 3/8. That is the end of this All-Star Math video lesson.